So, this is Bubble Bass. He's been on the show for the better part of 3 decades.
Thy canker sore bottoms curdle seaweed and sour the ocean.
And if you haven't watched SpongeBob in a while, you might be looking at this clip right now and saying to yourself, wait, he's still here? Yeah, he is. In fact, modern SpongeBob has put him in over a dozen episodes since 2014. Get this, there are episodes literally named after him. There's an entire in-universe TV segment called The Big Bad Bubble Bass. He has his own apartment, his own mom, his own recurring beef with the Krusty Krab. He's not a guest character anymore. He's part of the cast. The thing is, just like the other 2 characters you're about to see later in this video, he wasn't supposed to be here. And not only are they uninvited guests, they're the 3 characters that almost destroyed SpongeBob. Because these 3 characters represent 3 different mistakes the modern show keeps making with its own past. From least bad to worst, Bubble Bass debuted in 1999, season 1 on the episode Pickles. He hides pickles under his tongue, ruins SpongeBob's confidence for 10 minutes, gets caught, runs out of the Krusty Krab forever. He's the perfect one-off villain, the kind of character you write so the episode works, and then you go and put him in the drawer. And for 7 full seasons after that, he stayed in the drawer. Then, in 2014, season 8, the episode Plankton's Good Eye, he comes back. Just for a quick cameo. Easy callback for older fans. Nothing crazy. But the show kept going, and once season 9 hit, suddenly Bubble Bass was just everywhere. Bulletin board, Whirly Brains, Larry the Floor Manager, Krabby Patty Creature Feature, Squidnar, Swamp Mates, Hiccup Plague, Bubble Bass's Tab, Moving Bubble Bass, A Place for Pets, High Sea Diving, Captain Quasar the Next Iteration, plus crossovers in Camp Coral and The Patrick Star Show. And here's the thing. The original Bubble Bass, the one in Pickles, serves as a villain, specifically because he's a stranger. We don't know him. We don't know why he hates SpongeBob. He shows up, lies about Pickles for petty reasons, gets exposed, and disappears. Modern Bubble Bass has a backstory now. He lives in a basement. He has a mom. He has a Wonder Whale action figure. He has a personal grudge with SpongeBob that the show keeps trying to develop. He has hobbies? He has fans. There's a whole in-universe TV segment, The Big Bad Bubble Bass, that exists inside the show to make him a celebrity in his own world. That's the Elevation Gambit. You take a character who worked precisely because he was small, and you force him to be big. You build lore around him until he stops being interesting. The damage isn't huge. Bubble Bass episodes are mostly fine, but each one of them keeps degrading a little bit off what made the original work. So much so that nowadays the mystery is practically gone. The petty meanness is gone. He's just a regular guy now, and honestly, it does get a lot worse from here. Bubble Bass is the warm-up. 2 characters this time, which coincidentally share the same problem. Doodlebob debuted in Frankendoodle, Season 2. SpongeBob finds a magic pencil that fell from a fishing boat, draws an evil version of himself for a prank, the doodle goes on a rampage, SpongeBob eventually traps him in a notebook forever. End of episode. And here's what matters about that ending. Trapped in a notebook forever. The story closes. The threat is resolved. The magic pencil gets returned to the artist who lost it. Doodlebob existed for 22 minutes and then he was done. Around the same time, the show did something even weirder. In Graveyard Shift, a horror-tinged episode about Squidward trying to scare SpongeBob with the hash-slinging slasher, they ended the whole thing by revealing that the actual cause of all the creepy stuff was Nosferatu. You know, the 1922 silent film vampire, just standing there, flipping the light switch. The writer who came up with the cameo, Jay Lender, has said the joke was specifically that nobody under 30 would even recognize him. That was the entire bit, a deep cut reference for the adults, a creepy, weird image for the kids. and it makes absolutely no sense in either direction. It wasn't really a setup for anything. It was a single perfect non sequitur at the end of a horror parody, made purely for catching people off guard. And then it was over. Right? Until it wasn't. In 2018 season 11, Doodlebob came back for his own specials, Doodle Dimension, and it basically serves as a prequel to Frankendoodle. The story is that SpongeBob and Patrick get trapped in a paper dimension. Doodlebob is there waiting, big climactic confrontation, the whole thing. Coincidentally, that same season, Nosferatu came back too. The episode is called The Night Patty, and now suddenly, he's the official night manager of the Krusty Krab? He has a job? He has coworkers? He has a backstory. And from that point on, both of them just keep coming back. Doodlebob shows up in Bottle Burglars, The Nitwitting, Captain Pipsqueak, Squidiot Box, Curse of the Weredoodle, 5 more times across 4 seasons. Nosferatu shows up in A Place for Pets, Captain Pipsqueak, Slappy Days, My Friend Patty, Funbelievable, Pet the Rock, Creepaway Camp, Biscuit Ballyhoo, The Creepy Crab, and gets his own namesake episode, Squidferatu, in 2022. He's even in Camp Coral as a child version called Kidferatu. Yeah, I can't make this up. So now both of these characters have a resume, and both of them lost the only thing that made them work, the fact that they only happened once. The original Doodlebob was unsettling, because the magic pencil was a singular event, one pencil. SpongeBob found it on a beach, used it once, and then sent it back. The whole episode is about how something uncontrolled briefly broke into the world and then got shut back out. The modern version turns that into a recurring sci-fi setup with a dimension and a portal and a Sandy invention. The original Nosferatu was funny because he didn't belong there. He was an alien element pasted into the show for 10 seconds. Now he's an employee. He punches a time card. That's what I would like to call resurrection compulsion. The instinct to drag everything back from the vault because audiences remembered it. Except the part audiences actually remembered was the fact that it didn't come back. The originals are good because they were closed loops. Meanwhile, reopening them doesn't honor the originals. It only cheapens them. Every time Doodlebob shows up in his 5th episode, the first one gets a little smaller, which is bad. But hey, it's still recoverable. If the writers ever decide to stop, Frankendoodle and Graveyard Shift still exist on the same level they always did. You can just pretend the rest of it didn't happen. And as bad as it already is, our third character isn't recoverable, to say the least. Patrick said it himself. Season 2, he doesn't have a sister. Now, look, SpongeBob is not a continuity-heavy show. Nobody's expecting Game of Thrones tier world building here. Characters change ages, jobs, addresses, voices, species sometimes. The early seasons treated canon like a suggestion, and it worked. But there's a difference between treating canon loosely and actively replacing it, and the show crossed that line when it started letting its spin-offs rewrite the original. Squidina. You probably know her from The Patrick Star Show, the spin-off where she's Patrick's adopted little sister. She runs the production of his in-universe talk show. She lives with the Star family. She's a main character. What you might not know is that Squidina actually originated in the main show, Season 11, an episode called Goons on the Moon. She shows up as one of Pearl's friends, and in this episode, she has no relation to Patrick, just a squid kid in Pearl's social circle. Even when she comes back next season in The Goofy Newbie, still Pearl's friend. After that episode, co-showrunner Vincent Waller posted publicly, "We have special plans for her." A few months later, The Patrick Star Show got announced. And in that show, Squidina was suddenly Patrick's adopted sister. And then she came back to the main show. In mid-season finale, Nitwit Neighborhood News, Cleanin' House, A Space Affair to Remember, 5-Star Restaurant, Captain Quasar, the next iteration, and in those appearances, she's not Pearl's friend anymore. She's part of the Star family. Cleanin' House literally has her cleaning what the episode calls the Star family kitchen. So the contamination went both ways. She was created in main canon as one thing, retconned in the spin-off as another, and then re-imported into main canon under the new identity? I'm starting to lose track here. But it's worse than that, because along with Squidina, the show imported Patrick's parents. In the original show, Patrick's parents have always been Margie and Herb Starr. They've appeared multiple times across the run. They have established designs, established voices, established personalities. In the Patrick Star show, and now in modern main canon, Patrick's parents are Bunny and Cecil Starr. Completely different names, different voice actors, different appearances, different personalities. And every time Squidina shows up in the main show now, every time the Star family gets referenced, every time Patrick interacts with his sister, the show is pretty much telling you that the version of Patrick's family you remember doesn't matter anymore. Squidina is a character whose existence is incompatible with what came before. Who gets imported into main continuity anyway? And who brings the spin-off's entire version of the world with her? And we've actually talked about this exact disease before. Different characters, same pattern. Narlene, Sandy's foot-fighting feral cousin imported in from Camp Coral. Same path, born in a spin-off. Dropped into the main show, forced everyone around her to get a little dumber to accommodate her existence. Squidina is just the more permanent version, because she didn't just bring a character. She brought a family. That's the third mistake, and unlike the first two, you can't undo it. Once Squidina is Patrick's sister aired in the main show, that's the new canon, forever. So, 3 characters, 3 different mistakes. Modern SpongeBob doesn't trust its own past enough to leave it alone. Every weird singular moment from the early seasons is now a potential franchise. Every minor character is a potential lead. Every closed loop is a potential opening. The show has so much existing material to mine that it started cannibalizing itself, turning its best small ideas into bigger ones and losing the thing that made them work in the first place. And the worst part is, none of these are actually bad episodes individually. Doodle Dimension is fine. Moving Bubble Bass is fine. The Squidina episodes are fine. The damage isn't really about any single episode. It's in what happens cumulatively. When you spend 25 years pulling on every single thread the original show ever left behind. Maybe the best thing modern SpongeBob can do isn't add anything new. Maybe it'll let some things stay finished. Everything we just talked about today is real, but it's also not the full picture, because every once in a while, modern SpongeBob still pulls off something that quietly makes us reconsider. An episode good enough that we had to put out a whole video admitting it proved us wrong about where the show is heading. Squidward, his prankster dad, Henry Winkler, a premise that should have collapsed under itself and somehow doesn't. If you want the other side of the conversation we just had, an episode from Modern SpongeBob that proved me wrong, that video's right here. Go watch it next. I'll see you on the next dive.